Sometimes the most important people in your life will enter your story when they were supposed to be nothing more than a background character. Today, we have to revisit middle school, where four awkward 12-year-olds decided to go on a double date together and ended up creating a bigger story than they ever would have imagined. To understand how the story starts, we're gonna have to go back to the seventh grade. On a normal Friday afternoon, Alexander, Charlie, Naomi, and I walked out of school to spend some time together. At this time, I was dating Alexander, and my best friend Naomi was dating Charlie. Now, looking back, dating is a very generous term to define these relationships. We'd been together for 2 days and exchanged about 5 texts, and I think we may have stood about a foot away from each other at school. We walked over to our local Starbucks to grab some drinks while making some very awkward small talk. After getting our four grande pink drinks, we walked to the nearby park and sat down at a picnic table. For a while, all we could do was sit, stare, and laugh about how awkward this double date was going. Our conversation slowly started to pick up because the awkward silence was far too deafening to not be speaking. But as we warmed up to each other, I found myself really enjoying the conversation that I was having. Charlie and I were bonding over having iPhone 5Ss that barely worked. I was picking on him for getting a pink drink because he had never tried Starbucks before that day. We were talking about our classes and how Charlie and I had language arts together. I reminded him about how on the first day of school, our teacher had called on the two of us to do a reading about a medieval times story of a prince and princess falling in love. We bonded over our sisters having a 5-year age gap, the cracks on our matching phones, and let's be honest, how boring that language arts class really was. But the more we talked, the more natural it felt, and before I knew it, I had spent more time getting to know Charlie on this date than breaking the ice with Alexander. And to this day, I honestly cannot remember a single thing that Alexander said on this date, but I can vividly remember my conversations with Charlie. And while that double date eventually did come to an end, the conversation we started that day did not. After that Friday afternoon in the park, our friendships and relationships took very different paths. Over the next few weeks, Charlie and Naomi and Alexander and I ended our love lives exactly how most middle schoolers do. Neither relationship lasted more than a few weeks, and before we knew it, we were all just friends again and social distancing in the lunchroom. Even though our relationships had ended, Charlie and I continued to grow a friendship. We would casually talk together in class, joke about our beat up phones, and continue these conversations we had started on house party video calls together. Soon enough, we had made a great friendship that started that Friday afternoon in the park that lasted all the way through high school. So, today we talked about how four awkward seventh graders went on a double date, how this unexpected friendship formed, and how that friendship has lasted long after we got picked up from the park by our parents. Looking back, that double date was the best date I could have been on because Charlie, the boy that I had spent the entire date talking to, is now my boyfriend of over 2 years. Life has such a funny way of introducing you to people twice. First is when you initially meet them, and second is when you realize how important they really are. In the beginning, Charlie was just supposed to be a background character on the story of my first date, and somewhere between the pink drinks and awkward conversations, he became a main character in my life. Thank you.